Hello, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. My name is Heike, and today we are going to talk about Copilot for security plugins. And I have Yaniv with me. So Yaniv, please introduce yourself.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Heike. My name is Yaniv Shasha. First of all, I'm a big fan of the show. I am a product manager in customer experience engineering team, doing Copilot. Super busy with Copilot these days, and super happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. And you are very excited about the topic plugins. I remember when we talked about other things, you're like plugins. So why are you so excited about this topic?
Yeah, so I'm a big guy of automation and extensibility, and I really like to go out of the border of the product and trying to extend it to different use cases, to different products. So plugin will give me the stage and the tooling to do it and to enrich Copilot with other capabilities that is not there.
Okay, so basically already answered my next question. What are plugins? So plugins allows you to extend Copilot with other products.
So let me first maybe step back and explain that the nature of LLM and how custom plugins help us to solve two main problems. So Copilot for Security is based on GPT as an engine, as the foundational model. And GPT as large language model is a pre-trained model. What it means? It means that we fed the engine or the model with information, and information can be Wikipedia, can be the stock market. It doesn't need even to be a security data, but it's a state of time data. And when you are asking questions, for example, about CVE, tell me about the vulnerability that published in 2024. So sometimes, because the pre-trained model is only know until 2022, he will not give the answer about new CVE. And sometimes it will even give a fabrication answer. So this is one issue that the plugin answering. The other one is relevancy. So when you are asking a specific question about your organization, for example, tell me about your Sentinel incident or on your Defender incident, the foundational model, the LLM, doesn't know anything about your organization. And now let's step back about the custom plugin or the plugin. So the plugin helps us to answer these two main challenges. One is that when you are asking about this CVE that came in 2024, you are not going to the foundational model. You are going outside, query your database or your API that knows about CVE and getting the answer on the fly as a fresh manner, and only then injecting it into their model. This is for the freshness of the data.
So when you say CVE was a great example, so, and you have maybe connected the Defender vulnerability management and Defender for endpoint and whatever, like plugged in.
Yeah.
So if you ask that question, how does the product now know where to go? Like, is this all in one, or is it now checking, or like, how does that work behind the scenes? Sorry, that's super interesting.
We have a component that this is part of the secret sauce of the product that called orchestrator, and this layer is sitting between the prompt itself that the user are injecting and the engine itself. And the job of the orchestrator is to evaluate each and every prompt that the user injected into the system and checking with all the plugins that it has in his memory, in the memory, what is the best plugin to answer this specific question.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are, tell me about these vulnerabilities that coming from 2024, the orchestrator will look on all the plugins, all the description that we wrote with the plugin itself, and when it has a match, it will promote the plugin, inject all the input parameter, and do the magic there. So it's a great question. Planner and orchestrator, it's an amazing component.
Wow. So connectors then are also used for the products I just mentioned. So Defender for Endpoint and Defender XDR and Sentinel and whatever. And I would assume that these already exist, or do people have to toggle them on, or how does it work to basically get your Copilot for security connected to these products?
So we have three types of plugins. The first one that you discussed is the first-party one, is the Microsoft ecosystem of plugins and Defender, Sentinel, Purview. So it's not only the traditional cybersecurity tools, we are also overreaching to other areas to be like Intune, for example. And this is, as you said, super easy toggle on and off. You can also control it on organizational view. So you can do governance on the plugin itself, and you can say, in my organization, Defender only need to be set up, and that's it. We have the other type of the third parties like Splunk, ServiceNow, and you will see much more soon. And we have the custom plugin that if you didn't find what you're looking for in the first or the third, and you want to build your own, we are giving you the tools how to build the custom plugin.
And at this point, I also want to mention that there is various GitHub repositories already for custom plugins where other people already wrote the plugin. So in the comment section on YouTube, we will make sure that we add those GitHub links for you, because a lot of work has been put together already.
We love to see the community contribute and create like a good ecosystem around it. Super important to the success for the product.
Yes, and why would someone need to write the same thing again if already someone wrote it, right?
Yeah.
So how is that with permissions? So I imagine, right, so you plug in something. So how does the authentication work for first party? I would assume we are using our Entra ID, and then either you have already permissions in Intune, in Purview, and whatever. And then you can also only request the data for the data that you have permissions for. But how is that with third party custom?
Okay. So you touch a very good point. We are honoring the permission that the user has against the remote system in the first party. We call it on behalf of. So every time that Yaniv is writing a prompt or Heike writing a prompt on getting Intune devices, so we check if Heike has read access against the remote system to fetch the devices. If she does, we return the data. So this is in the first party, super easy. It means that the customer doesn't need to prepare nothing from permission model. Yeah, it only needs to give permission to access the tool and writing a prompt, and that's it. For third party, we have a couple of methods, and some of them can be OAuth, some of them can be API key, in some manner basic authentication. So we are supporting the popular authentication types, and this is also relevant to the custom plugin.
Okay, and this is like we will look into this later, but this is also how you probably create your plugin and describe what is the authentication or something in the plugin.
Exactly.
And can everybody create a custom plugin in Copilot for security, or do you need specific permissions to do so? I can imagine, I don't know if as an organization wants everyone to like, yay, connect to whatever you want.
No, it's a good point, and we have two settings that allow us to governance the plugin, the custom plugin creation and upload. We have the ability that only admin can add and manage plugin, and they can decide if the plugin that they are uploading can be visible to them or propagating to the whole organization. And we can also set that anyone in the organization will be able to upload plugins. So this is a setting that the admin itself can set up, controlling who can do what, and even who can configure the plugin itself, who can add maybe the API keys. And you will see more and more even maturity from RBAC and role-based authentication that will give more flexibility in this area.
Wow. So we talked about plugins, but I also used the word connect to a different system, but there is also connectors. So what is a connector that is not a plugin, or like what's the difference?
Yes. And I used to remember connector from my day in Sentinel that we used to ingest data from the remote system into Sentinel index, but here the connector are totally different. So we have the custom plugin that know how to fetch the data with API, with specific requests, and fetch it into the session context. And connector is coming from the logical aspect. So we have also a motion of automation because we heard from customers that they want to automate maybe the prompt if they want to do a specific use case. So we created a logical connector that allows you programmatically to inject queries remotely into Copilot. So we need to have connectors that allow us to connect to Copilot for security and asking questions in a programmatically way and creating like a narrative and a workflow. So this is the connector. It allows us to inbound, to connect to Copilot remotely.
Ah, okay. I was just about to say, so what is the difference then to prompt books, playbooks? They're also automating your prompts that you always ask maybe, but this is now from the other side.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Thank you
And
very much.
you will see connections between Logica playbooks and prompt books. So we are trying to stitch them together also.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully I will get someone else on the show to talk about prompt books and playbooks and connectors and okay. We will after that discuss when we are doing that one. Good. So Yaniv, now I think it's time. Let's jump into a demo.
So I know that our main focus is custom plugin, but before we will jump the specifics, let me do a short reminder for Copilot for Security. This is the homepage. We have two flavors of the product. We have the embedded experience and we have the standalone one. So I'm now in the standalone portal of the Copilot for Security. This is the homepage. I can see all the historical sessions that I already run. If I want to continue to investigate them, I just only need to press on them. And we have in the plugin, and as you can see, remember, Heike, we discussed about third party. So this is like the robust list that we already have. And of course, it will becoming much bigger soon. For each and every plugin, we have the ability to toggle on or off. In some of the plugin, we have the option to set it up. So if I press here, I will able to set the right permission. And this is the custom plugin. As you can see, I love to do a lot of custom plugins, so I have variety of them. So I am a new analyst or even a security admin, and I want to run a specific command. So we have something that called the artist dilemma. So when a new a user starting to type here, he doesn't know what to ask. So we gave a couple of ways how to improve it, and one of them is the slash. So if let's assume that I'm very interested on my service now instance, so I can start typing service now, and then it gave me all the suggestion from that is relevant to the domain that I already wrote.
Wow.
So if I type service now incident, I can add all the input parameter and I can start asking questions. I can always start and asking general question, for example, who am I? And then I will let the orchestrator, the planner, to understand which plugin need to answer this ambiguous question and return it, of course. So I'm assuming that it will select Entra. Yes, so this is Entra, and because it's an identity type of question, and it will return all the data that he knows about me from Active Directory. So normally it will take, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds for an answer, and it will return all the data that you know about you.
Wow, I like it that it actually shows you that it's going through the different plugins and then it also shows you the selected one. And there you are. But your job title is wrong. I saw that you got promoted. It still says senior program manager.
this is a demo environment. I will never quote with Microsoft.
Okay.
Actually, not worry. So in my case, let's now talk about the custom plug. So I'm a SOC analyst, and when I investigate an incident, for example, sometimes I need to ask questions relevant to geolocation. Tell me from which country this IP. So now I prepare a prompt that tell me the geolocation of a specific IP. When I start running it, I'm expecting if Copilot will behave as I'm expecting, that it will not give me an answer because it doesn't have the right plugin to answer this question.
Mhm.
So now the orchestrator working hard, and you can see that it doesn't find any plugin. So now let's see the extensibility mind of Yaniv is working and said, hey, Copilot didn't give me the answer. Let's build some extensibility that help me to do geolocation.
Wow, this is awesome. Yes, please.
Let me open the plugin stream. And now we scroll down to custom plugin. And remember, I want to add a new capability that will help me to answer the geolocation question. So I have a couple of options here. First of all, I can control who will see the new plugin that I'm going to upload. In my case, I'm still just testing it. So let's focus in just me. I have two options here. Maybe I want to use OpenAI ecosystem for plugin, and I can select to connect to OpenAI plugin ecosystem, or I want to upload a Copilot for security plugin. And this is what I will select. I will have option to upload the manifest file. So let me navigate to the manifest file that I already created that will work with the geolocation IP. Just a minute, something happening. Yeah, so don't go to my download folder. I have the folder of my demo custom plugin. Come on. And I selected the geo.yaml file. So this is like the manifest file of the geolocation plugin. And as you can see, already here. And I just add it. And once we are doing a couple of validation here, we are checking the schema, checking all the properties, and hooray, it added to my custom plugin list. Let's see if it's enabled. Yes, IP addresses, geolocation. And now let's come back to the same session and ask the same question. And I don't need even to type it. Let's resubmit the prompt and see if now Copilot with the new extensibility that I just added will be able to answer the geolocation question. So the orchestrator is working hard to see if the new plugin selected. Yeah, and I see that it selected it.
Wow.
So,
Magic.
so I know it's a simple use case, but I just want to show you how easy it is to add new capability and extend to answer a specific use case.
This is awesome.
And this can be URL scan. This can be other SaaS application that I want to connect. So many options here.
So, I mean, you did the magic by just adding that YAML file. So, but can we have a look at it? What does it contain? Can you open it in whatever it's in there that we understand how such a file needs to be written?
So in custom plugin, we have two main files. We have the manifest, and this is the one that I'm opening. And this is like a descriptor, a metadata file that will show us the name of the plugin and the description. And the description is super important field because it will help the orchestrator to select the right plugin. So this is like the metadata. And the second file is the Open API spec. And this is like a pointer to some location in the internet. Let me show you how it looks. This is like the same location, and this is where the definition is happening. Here you can define the API endpoint, you can define the schema, and when we are uploading the plugin, both files working together to create the capability.
So, Yaniv, before when you went to the plugins, can you click there again? Because there were like two options to add a custom plugin. One was you selected the file, and the other one, I think it was Open API or something. So is there a catalog or what's behind that button?
So they have the catalog. To be able to connect it, you need the full URL for the JSON file in the specific plugin from Open API. You just need to supply the URL and that's it. And we have a couple of security-oriented plugin that comes from there.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know that this is possible. Awesome. So this is great, actually, Yaniv. I mean, you can really, there's so many services out there. They're providing something, as you just added, like, hey, what is the geolocation of this? Or, um, I don't know, statistics of the world. I don't know, whatever, that you can use, and easily add them. So is there like a recommendation? Because it also takes time, right? Because if you prompt and it needs to go through all the different plugins, do we recommend, hey, let's not have in this like more than 20 or more than 50, or is it really, it's just the time that matters in the end?
So we still don't have a recommendation on the number of plugins to add, but a good point that you touched. So when you are writing a plugin and when you are working with large language model, we have the concept of tokens. And sometimes when we are, for example, going in remote API and fetching a lot of data, it's less efficient in the large language model concept. So when you are defining the plugin, you need to be very specific on which endpoint you are going, which field you are returning, and then you are more efficient on the data that you are injecting into the session context. And we have public documentation also that explaining how to write it and what is the types there.
And I would assume that, of course, there can be errors. And in the documentation, we also have a section on error codes when connecting or like adding plugins. Is there any recommendation, like because you work with customers a lot, and I assume a lot also on plugins, any recommendation that you can people give out there that are starting with plugins or working already longer with plugins?
So yes, starting small, maybe selected the one that have the open API spec. This will make your life easier when you are building the structure of the spec itself. Started maybe with one skill inside the plugin, and then build it from there. So this is what I said, and of course, limit the plugin only to your user and don't send it to the full organization until you are sure that it's doing what it's capable of doing.
Yeah, that's right. I like that option that you say, no, it's only available for me. So whilst you're playing around and testing it out. I mean, you used that plugin obviously also before and you knew exactly what you're going to ask. Is there something people need to remember when they actually prompt or ask? And do you need to, I know you said it's very important in that in the YAML file to explain what it is about. So of course your orchestrator knows, oh, we're talking about IPs and geolocation. So I'm going to use this plugin, but anything that also the person working with it needs to know.
So you can call plugin in the beginning of the context of the session, but sometimes you are calling them during like a existing investigation and defining in the plugin, in the schema itself, the input that the plugin itself accept, it's super important. And we can be even creative there. So we can do some even prompt engineering in the input parameter section, and then the plugin can accept one IP, for example, or multiple IPs. So defining the input parameters that allow you dynamically injecting data from a session, it's also a good tip that I think that the customer will cherish and love.
So Yaniv, and then if you ask a question around things that your new plugin knows, and also a question that like, and it includes something different, will it go to different plugins or is that plugin specific?
So if we want to match with the description and some meta data that we have in the plugin, the planner, the orchestrator, we select one plugin to answer the question. So as of today, the system is capable of taking one prompt from the user and using one plugin to serve this action.
So I think this is important. So basically, be mindful of your question so you get the answer. And then, of course, your current session has now the data, and you can include the data into your next question, which then goes to a different plugin. But don't write complex questions that are asking multiple plugins.
Exactly. And prompt engineering and the awareness and the understanding that we can only capable of doing, of answering from one plugin. And if you want to add another question, maybe you need to reshape your next prompt. This is important understanding and learning curve that our customer need to think.
Yeah, I think the right prompting, it's a learning, but we will also hopefully add more content around that, because this is basically your bread and butter to get the right answers.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yaniv, I think that's a wrap. We talked about the built-in plugins, the custom plugins, the permissions, as well as you just showed us super quick how to add one and that it is immediately working. Super interesting. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Everybody gets now the hands on and either creating plugins or connecting. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks, Yaniv, for being my expert on today's show, and see you all soon. Bye.